right.
All right.
There we go.
Is it working yet? I don't know if it's going to work. All right. Good evening, everyone. Yeah, thank you guys for coming.
We're going to go ahead and open this up. We're going to go ahead and open up. We're going to start with the invocation. I'm going to ask Pastor Hollins, could he give us a quick invocation?
Let's stand here. Father in heaven, we come now thanking you for your loving kindness and for your tender mercy. Thank you for having brought us safe thus far along another day's journey. We pray your blessings upon this session. We ask for wisdom, we ask for understanding, oh God, that we might all come together as you would have us to be together. In Jesus' name we pray.
Amen. All right. Again, thank you all for coming. I welcome all of you. We have a dynamic presentation today. We have a few people that are be here. But what I want to do first of all is I want to set a few ground rules. Let's be respectful of everybody's opinion. No personal shots, as always. And let's roll on. Let's build our community up the right way it needs to go. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and get cranked up. Hopefully I'll get my microphone. All right, one more.
Come on. Tap this.
Oh.
Now, I don't think this is going to work.
We can hear you without.
Y'all can hear me without it. Okay, I'm gonna start off with a PowerPoint presentation, and we have a guest who's going to be first. And of course, most of you know me. If you don't know me, I'm Felix. I'm the Councilman Award 2 here in Biloxi. And okay, first of all, riding around over the last couple of years, we had a lot of eyesores in the community. And what we wanted to do is identify those areas, work with the owners to see if they can bring something back to the community. And the first person I have is someone who's near and dear to our community. She is a daughter of someone who I feel is prominent in our community. If you didn't know, he was a lawyer, and his name was Curtis Hayes, Lawyer Hayes. And we have his daughter here, who is the owner of the Long Pink building. And as you know, it's been sitting there idle for a long time. So she has devised a plan. And what she's going to do is give us a short presentation of some of the things that she's getting ready to move forward. So if you guys don't mind, I'm going to bring up Marcy Hayes and her presentation and her people.
You got to speak up, your voice too soft.
I thought we were going to be all right with these microphones, but I guess it's not working too well. Might want to step up there.
There you go.
Good evening, my name is Marcy Hayes. Thank you so much for having us today. I have my mom, Janice Hayes, with me and my daughter, Christy Marie. Thank you to the leadership of the great city of Biloxi. Mayor Fofo, Councilman Gons have been really instrumental in really supporting us through the development of this project. It has taken years of research to really develop a plan, but we hired tall architects who are from Ocean Springs, and they really are a talented group of professionals, and they can pretty much explain the project better than I can, but thank you so much for your patience. And they really have a heart for the community, and so we definitely appreciate you guys' support. Thank you so much.
Hi everyone, my name's Madison Talley. Like Marcia said, I'm with Tall Architects. This is Tyler Wormuth, also with Tall Architects. And we've been brought in by the Hayes family to really kind of look at this property and just start to conceptualize some ideas behind it. So nothing we're showing you is concrete. It is very much kind of in, sort of an exploratory phase. So we don't want this to, this is just very conceptual. We're going to show you a short video in a minute, but we did want to touch first on the Long Pink building and kind of how we started this project. And originally we sort of started looking at this as a renovation of that building, trying to see what could be done to save it. We brought in a group of structural engineers to take a look at it. It has some pretty significant structural damage already. It's also below the base flood elevation. So the whole building would have to be raised up 6 feet if we were going to attempt to save it. So I just did want to kind of address that so you all understand that we've really kind of looked at every route, that made sense. And so what we're proposing is a new building, mainly based on kind of those base flood parameters. So Tyler's going to just show you a really quick little video we have. Once again, this is very preliminary. We're just sort of like kind of starting the process and dreaming big. But what we are looking at right now with Marcia is a 3 to 4 story building right there. It is fully elevated with parking underneath in order for us to kind of fulfill our parking requirements, but also kind of, fulfill our FEMA flood regulations. Is it working over there? Yeah. Okay. And
This one.
Okay, we'll try this. Okay, so as you can see, this is Main Street on the left, and then our cross street is Murray Street here. So we are proposing to raise the building, utilize the kind of like first floor for parking, and then we have currently proposed a 4-story building here. And what's in that building is still very much kind of, we are working through that. We've looked at possibly doing office space on the first floor and hotel units on the upper 3 floors is a possibility. But once again, we're very much kind of in this fact-finding kind of phase, trying to figure out what this area needs, and also wanting to make sure that this building serves as a catalyst for the community, kind of a first step at revitalizing this particular area and this particular site. Just a few other notes. We have kind of like started the process. We have set before the Development Review Committee, and we've understanding that there are some zoning things that need to be addressed about this, and some height things as well. But once again, this kind of just gives you an overall idea about how we're proposing to address that corner and just sort of the massing of the building. Please don't look at this in terms of like finished design here. It is just kind of a broad stroke, a broad brush stroke. And then we have prepared kind of just a packet that we've been kind of talking through with the Hayes family and just kind of working on with, with hopes of showing this to the city. But Tyler, I'll just let you, I think I might actually be able to do this.
Excuse me, I'm coming in a little bit late. What are you talking about?
Excuse me, this is the pink building on Main Street. She came in like, where?
Oh, it's 260 Main. It's Main Street and Murray Street.
And what is that,
So that's kind of what we're sort of in the process of determining. We're looking at possibly a mixed-use building. We've also looked at it as hotel units or possibly even longer-term apartment type housing. So we're still sort of determining what that's going to be. But Tyler, we can just kind of, I think I can actually do it from here. We'll just show you. So we've really just been looking at keeping this in a historical context. We understand that there are buildings that surround this that add to the fabric of the community, and we want to be really respectful of that and sort of the history of Biloxi. These are just some inspiration images that we've pulled, and then we've really just been looking at how we can utilize these different floors, possibly as office space on the first floor, and then short-term rental on the second, third, and showing you that. And then a 4-story option as well, where this could possibly once again be offices on the first floor and then shorter term rentals on the upper 3 floors. So once again, this building, very conceptual. We just kind of wanted to bring it, to the community members, show you what we're working on, and just wanted to let you know that we believe we're working on something very exciting for the community and something that will truly be a catalyst for this area.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes. For the presentation. You have questions about it? You want to take a question?
Sure. Are we getting input from the community on this, or is this something that's being proposed without the community?
Yes, we would love input from the community. Once again, this is very early on, so I think, anything that you believe you would like to see on this site or, any ideas you have, we're open to.
Let me add into it. Right now, Marcy's team has been working with Jared to make sure we're in compliance. And that's the #1 goal, is to get through all the steps. Because FEMA have a lot of regulations when it comes down to building buildings and things like that. So we want to make sure that we cover all of our bases before we bring it out to the community. And then once everything is formulated, then they will bring it out to the community and allow feedback, compare, contrast, and all the above.
Quick question. So that building is one of the oldest structures in our town, has extreme historical value for some of us. Has there been no attempt to save the structure and renovate the original structure?
So we have definitely looked at that. That's how we originally approached the project with the Hayes family, was a renovation of the building. It has significant structural, it's been compromised structurally. If you walk around it, you can see a lot of large cracks in the facade. We had a structural engineer come out and do just kind of an initial assessment, and they recommended not renovating the structure. Also, it's located 6 feet below base flood elevation. So really, you could only renovate the upper portion, and the lower portion would have to be open air if you do that, or the entire building theoretically would have to be elevated, which we don't see as a possibility. So we definitely understand that a renovation would be preferable to a new building. However, it's just not feasible in this situation. So we've been working on that, just kind of understanding that. Once again, we have talked to the
Jared Creel, and Jared Creel says, no, it does not have to be rezoned. And of course, we see what's going on across the street where there's beautification going on, and we want to make the whole Main Street. So we're working with each individual owner of every property so that we can make Main Street come back to life in some fashion or form. And that's why we're bringing it, and I heard the question, will the public, this is why we're here, to let you know what's actually happening.
And Councilman, I appreciate that, but I guess my concern is that I have nothing in writing that says what this proposal is all about. all I hear is somebody talking, and I think that what, in all fairness to the community, if you really want our input, somebody should provide us some perspective on what the plans are, or what's being proposed, instead of just talking some points for 10, 15 minutes, and leaving us to wonder, what are we talking about? Okay, I just think that's being fair.
Those things are coming. Those things are coming. Those things are coming. What we're doing is we're letting you know. We're in the let you know stage.
I would like to know, like the street that I live on, Alexander Drive, and that street is so bad.
Well, if you hold on, we're not there. We're talking about this right now. So if you don't mind, just and actually we're going to get to questions toward the end. Okay. Okay. Thank you, again. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Appreciate you. Appreciate you. Thank you. Yes, it is. Okay. Okay, let's see. The right one is there. Is that the right flash right? Okay, and like I was saying earlier, I've been working with a lot of the owners, the owner of Miss Inez Cafe. We're talking with him to see where he want to go with it, so we can continue to move it on. Same as the Nichols House, the same as the Blue Note Lounge. So we've been talking to all the owners, and the Blue Note is the only one that I haven't gotten a hold to the owner yet. And as soon as I get a hold to that owner, we're going to start moving forward. All right, next, Miss Angela, I want you to come on up and talk a little bit about the Coding Academy, not the Coding Academy, KOPC Workforce.
There you go. And
Come
I
on.
really don't need the mic unless you want me to.
I want you to have the mic.
Okay, good evening, everybody. I normally don't use the mic because I talk really loud, but thank you, Councilman guys, first for giving KOPC Workforce Development this platform to talk to you about our program. I see Mr. Tisdale there as a council member, and of course Jerry Creel. And I mentioned them because the city of Biloxi is one of our funders. They saw what it is that KOPC Workforce Development is doing here in East Biloxi, and I want to just thank you all for your support. KOPC Workforce Development started in 2018, and of course you all are familiar with our Mother of Sorrows Catholic Church. We are located at 800 Division Street on the second floor of the historical Catholic school. Y'all of course know that because this is your community. So that's where we're located, and we started this program in 2018. The reason why we started it is because we heard from the community about the needs they had related to workforce development, employment opportunities, training opportunities. I want to recognize my husband, Michael Griffin, who's a member of the Knights of Peter Claver organization. And at that time, he was the actual Grand Knight of the organization. KOPC Workforce Development started, as I said, in 2018, but the Knights of Peter Claver started in Biloxi in 1990. And it's a Catholic organization, fraternal organization. So I came on board as a consultant because I was teaching at Mississippi Gulf Coast Community College and also working with this nonprofit organization, Jobs for Mississippi Graduates, as a career navigator. And I talked to the Knights of Peter Claver, and I said to them, some of the issues that those individuals that I was serving in East Biloxi, those that were ages at that time 16 to 24, that they were saying to me, Ms. Griffin, we got barriers that we can't get to the community college. We don't have the monies to get on Coast Transit Authority buses. We don't have vehicles to be able to get to the community colleges. I have child care needs. And they named a list of barriers that prevented them from accessing the services in Gulfport. So I approached the Knights of Peter Claver and I said, we need to do something right here in our neighborhood. When individuals who were interested in receiving that type of training that facilitated them into employment. Ingalls hired, Chevron hired, DuPont and all the others were continued to hire. However, individuals in East Biloxi between the ages of 16 and 24 was kind of left out of the opportunities that these industries afforded because of the various barriers. So KOPC Workforce Development was formed in 2018 to be able to address those needs of those individuals. So what the Knights of Peter Claver decided to do, they said, let us increase the age. Not only 16 to 24, but let's do it from 16 to 50, age 50, for various reasons. Not everybody wants to go to college. Some individuals just want to be able to have the upskills, those skills in order to be able to transition into employment, or to be able to do some things, basic general construction, basic electrical wiring within their own home settings. So KOPC Workforce Development decided to hire individuals to do several things. Some of these individuals decided they just wanted to give back to the community. They were saying, we don't want you to pay us, we want to just give back to the community. And one of those individuals, and I thank him for that, is Mr. Felix. He said, what I would like to do is come in and teach these individuals just basic electrical wiring skills. That meant that he was taking away from his business time to come to KOPC and give back to the community. Since that time, we've hired Harrison Hall, we call him Eugene, was living here, now living in Gulfport, and he comes back and he teaches electrical wiring to our students. Michael, retired from Ingalls, also decided what I want to do is teach the basic general construction to these individuals. So on Monday and Wednesday, individuals come at 800 Division Street to get training in basic general construction. Individuals come on Tuesday and Thursday to get basic training in electrical wiring between 9 o'clock a.m. to 12:30 p.m. But in addition to receiving construction, basic electrical wiring, basic general construction, they're receiving training in resume writing, financial literacy training, okay, and basic computer skills. So understand, we wanted to be in Biloxi, we wanted to serve East Biloxi, and most importantly, we wanted to make sure that we communicate to all East Biloxi residents that we want individuals, so that target population between ages 16 to 50, and the target area to the East Biloxi to come and receive this training, okay? So I have my cards, Michael has his business card with all of our contact information, and understand that our funders are the Kellogg Foundation, City of Biloxi, Hancock Whitney Bank, our Mother Sars Catholic Church, as well as the Knights of Peter Claver. All of these individuals saw our vision and said they wanted to be a part of funding us. So I want you to go and leave here tonight. Go back to your family members. Go back to your friends and tell them that KOPC Workforce Development is providing training right there at 800 Division Street, basic general construction and basic electrical wiring. Thank you all so much.
Thank you, Ms. Angela. And KOPC has done a phenomenal job in the community. They've done a very phenomenal job. We also have the Coding Academy. If you have any kids out there, children who are interested, who just got out of college, or just got out of high school, and they're of college age, but they don't want to go all the way through college, $40,000, $45,000, $50,000 to Coding Academy. It's an intense 11-month program designed to get the kids out there and put them to work. So between KOPC and the Coding Academy, these are awesome, awesome programs to be in. All righty, I'm going to move on to some of the good stuff. The Lee Street Baseball Park. Most of you pass by it all the time. And what do y'all say? It's in bad shape. Oscar Render used it as a laydown yard for a long time. And of course, we all know what we endured with Oscar Render. So we've been talking about this for a long time. When I became councilman 10 years ago, we didn't have a community center at all. We had one probably 25, almost 30 years ago, and we lost all our community centers. This side of Biloxi had 3 community centers and now have none. Well, lo and behold, we just drew up the resolution today, and that will be on the agenda Tuesday for a community center. So if everything passes, we would immediately start working on that, and that will be Tuesday. I wanted you guys to know. We haven't figured out a name for it yet. We're looking at all options, but I wanted you to know that we're going to have a community center before I walk away. I also wanted to let you guys know that south of the track, please be aware, we still got construction going on. Oscar Render took a long toll on us. We went through a lot with Oscar Render, but this company is going to be a lot quicker. So those people, Mr. Preston, you guys, they're coming through. So in a couple of months, they're going to start working their way that way. They are supposed to get at least 85% of the road done before they move on, so they won't have all the problems and issues that we had on the North Country. So I just wanted to let you know, keep your eyes open, be on the lookout, because they are. We still have areas that are flooding. Just like she said, your roads are messed up, and the reason they're not going to patch them up right away is because, you know, they're on their way to that area. And what I'll do though tomorrow, I'll just ride through there just to make sure if it's where it's unbearable, then I'll come through there, take a look, and we can do a temporary patch. Kind of like what we did on Jefferson Street. On Jefferson Street, I did a quick shave and pave to satisfy the needs of that, the families on that street. Okay? All right. All right, I want to talk a little bit about our community parks. This right here is Bush Park. I've been hearing some of the complaints about Bush Park. Open the gate, close the gate, open the gate, close the gates. One of the reasons why we put the fence around the gate, contrary to what you may have heard, it's a safety issue. A lot of those kids, when they get in that park and they get to running around, if you turn your head one time, they're gone. It would be a sad day if we watched a kid get run over. So we put the fence around. And the reason we locked one side of the gate was because of drug activities. Nobody wants drug activities near their home. And we stopped it. So, if you have any complaints about it, please let us know. We open it back up temporarily. If we continue to have those activities, then we'll close it back. I don't have no problem closing a park down with that kind of activities, because we have people that live by there who get up and go to work. And when you have people that go to work, they don't want to hear all hear that all night long. So that was one of the reasons why we did that. John Henry Beck Park. I hear a lot about the bathrooms. Sometimes the bathroom, the sinks get torn off, things like that, and we have to shut the bathrooms down to fix it back. Believe it or not, here in Ward 2, we have the best looking parks around the city. Yeah, Ward 2 has the best looking parks, and we want to keep them that way. We want to keep the bathrooms functioning for everybody to use it, because it's supposed to be a family-friendly park. And so that's the reason why we shut down those bathrooms from time to time. It's not because of what I say, it's because of repair and maintenance. Todd Miez Park, we got it back rolling. A travel league took it over, renovated it, done all the necessary things it was to do to it. And they are actively playing. Matter of fact, they're looking at having a Todd Miez reunion back there. And they're doing good things, doing a whole lot of good things there. So I appreciate those guys for doing what they're doing. Grocery store. That's a hot topic here in the community. I hear that all the time. Grocery store. We're actively looking for someone to come into the community. Most of the people say food giant is not going to quite cut it. Some say Lee's Groceries is not going to quite cut it. A couple of years ago, I had someone to come in, but it got spilled out too fast. So they backed off, kind of like they did over in Ocean Springs. So that went by the wayside. But right now we have about 2, if not 3 people that are looking. And so we just want to kind of keep that in, and as soon as we land one, we're going to let you know. But we are close. We are very close. We're actively talking to people. We're trying to entice them. Once before, we offered to build it for them, just so they can house it. Prior to this, we did not meet the numbers. We did a Buxton report, we just flat out did not meet the numbers. Now, they just did a need analysis and they did a study. There's a lot of leakage. And what they mean by leakage is we're losing a lot of our grocery business to geography. We're Biloxi. And so we want to keep it right here in Biloxi. We want to keep our tax revenue right here. So we are actively looking right now, and we're talking to people. I'm talking about actual talks. So stay on the lookout. We will get that, just like we got that community center. Some of our accomplishments, the Keesler Gate project. Believe it or not, Keesler is Ward 2. Sometimes you get pigeonholed into one area. Well, Keesler is Ward 2. I have to go out there, and even on the other side of the base. We have to meet the needs of everybody. And the Keesler Gate was something valuable to our community, because that gives us that traffic flow. If you want that grocery store, you got to have that traffic flow. And that Keesler Gate is one small entity of making that happen. The North contract is almost to a close. Revitalizing Viewmont Shade, that's Ward 2 too. And that's been a big success, ground zero. So I just wanted to highlight some of the things that we have done. Sometimes you hear, we haven't done enough. Well, after I look back on 10 years, we've done quite a bit. We've done quite a bit. Okay, I'm gonna let y'all get to some questions in a minute. All right, I'm gonna let some of my directors speak for a little bit, I'm gonna start with Mr. Jerry Creel, Community Development, to tell a little bit about the city. We're gonna have our police department, our fire department, and we're gonna open it up to some questions.
Well, in the community development department, you know, we work on a number of things. We're responsible for zoning and planning and building permits, inspections, historic preservation. We mentioned a while ago, floodplain enforcement. But we also have code enforcement. And, you know, we have a crew that goes out and tries to make sure that everyone is maintaining their property the way that they're supposed to. We ran into a little bit of a glitch. We had a community court set up where if there were people who were not maintaining their property to the city standards, then after we had exhausted every other means, we would wind up having to take them to court to get it cleaned up. Through a law change in the state, they've changed it so that our people can't serve citations anymore. It has to be a sworn police officer that issues that citation. So we spent the last couple of months working with the police department to try to get that arranged so that we would have a sworn police officer that would do it. Now, the way that court would work now is that if there's someone who does not clean up their property and they do get issued a citation, that citation has a court date on it, but that person has the ability to come in and meet with me, and if we can work something out that's reasonable, then, and they get it resolved, then they won't have to go to court. Or if we work on some kind of a time frame for getting it cleaned up. So even though we did run into a hiccup, I think we've got that worked out now to where we can get back to getting properties cleaned up. A couple of things that Councilman Guy didn't mention about Ward 2. You know, we have the brand new main branch of Community Bank in Ward 2. We also have the BART building, which is going through a major restoration right now. Right across from my office down here, they've just built 4 new short-term rentals. Very nice if you take a look at them. They built them in record time. It seems like they just started about a month ago and they're almost complete now. But we are working on a number of things. We do have, are in negotiations with some grocery stores. We hope we can get that worked out. We have one meeting already scheduled in the very near future, and we'll release that information to you as soon as we can. The question about the building on Main Street and why that building couldn't be restored. Anytime you have an existing building and it's in the flood zone and it doesn't meet the elevation requirements, and it's going to require more than 50% improvement to restore that building, the building either has to be elevated or it has to just be rebuilt. And feasibly, there's no way to elevate that existing building. And it's clearly going to take more than 50% of the fair market value in order to restore it. That's what FEMA calls cumulative improvement. And anytime there's cumulative improvement to a structure, it has to be brought into full compliance with the flood regulations. We try every way we can to save our historic structures. We don't want to see any of them torn down, but sometimes there's just no way to feasibly make it work. But we'll continue to work to save as many of those structures as we can. We're working on a number of projects right now. Some of them are in Ward 2. We'll release the information on those as soon as the developers allow us to. One of the things that we run into a good bit is that when you're working with a developer, they'll let you know up front, we do not want word of this to get out until we're ready to make the announcement on it. And so we have to work with those people and not let the cat out of the bag, too early. We worked with the Rouse's grocery store for 2 years before we were able to work out that agreement, and that was one of the stores that let us know that if this gets out, we'll back off the deal. And fortunately, we were able to keep that under wraps until they were ready to allow us to make the announcement. But we are working on a number of things, and we'll continue to work on those. And Councilman Guines has done an excellent job. He communicates with us all the time. And anytime there's a question that comes up or something that he has an idea about, he's in our office to go over it. So we appreciate those good relationships with the council members. That's about all I have. say.
Okay, so afterwards, after all of them do their presentation, please, if you don't mind.
Yes. So my name is Caleb Hudson. I work with the fire department in the fire prevention division. So one of the things I wanted to talk to you today is about saving lives. So it's so important for early detection in a fire, especially in your house. So fire we know is very destructive with not only a home, but also could be a life as well. So we have a program of smoke detectors save lives. So what we do is if you do not have a smoke detector in your house, or you do not have working smoke detectors in your house, you can let us know. We can put you on the list, and we'll actually come to your house and put smoke detectors in your house free of charge. So there's no reason that anybody in the city of Biloxi shouldn't have a smoke detector in every single bedroom and outside of your bedrooms, because it's important that we know as soon as possible you're getting alerted of any smoke in your house before the chance of possible taking of somebody's life in their house. So if y'all have any questions about that, please let us know. We have forms up here if you'd like to fill one out. If you know someone in your neighborhood that might need that, tell them to call the fire department. We can put them down on the list. As we have time, we'll come out and install these in your home. It's a great program.
Is that just for private, part of your primary home, or for rental as well? You have rental homes?
Mostly primary homes for ones that can't afford to go get them themselves, but typically with somebody with a rental house. Now, if your landlord's not doing it for you, by all means call us, because we don't want that to be a reason why you don't have a smoke detector in your house. Typically apartments, they're going to have to take care of themselves for liability reasons, but definitely if you do not have smoke detectors in your house, give us a call.
Do I understand that those new ones will last for 10 years?
Yes, ma'am. The ones that we install have a built-in 10-year battery, so you don't have to change batteries. And plus, just so you know, we just had the time change, so if you do have batteries in yours, make sure you change batteries on those.
Do you put a notice on those smoke detectors when they're going to expire?
We put the date that we installed it in.
Right.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Lewis Bourne. I'm a captain with the Biloxi Police Department. I'm here on behalf of Director Miller, since his regrets not being able to attend. He's at a conference. We're just coming off of Mardi Gras, and I can breathe the collective sigh of relief with all the traffic and everything that goes with the congestion. St. Patrick's Day. So our next big event is going to be spring break. That's going to be the weekend of April 13th through 16th. So of course that's primarily an event that takes most of the congestion is in the west, but on the weekend there are certain locations that might have pop-up parties and things like that in the east that you might have to deal with traffic congestion. So, yeah. Yes. So some of the programs that we're working on with the police department is we're working. The last few years, we've been really pushing through a diversity hire program, and we've really been working hard with changing the way we go through and recruit our workforce. It's no secret that nationwide, public safety in general has been going through a tough couple of years in terms of recruitment and retention, and we're no different. We have the same struggles in terms of workforce retention and recruitment as everyone else. And so over the last couple of years, we've been redeveloping the way we go through and recruit and hire and do our testing process to try to onboard more often and with an eye towards those diversity hires through a lot of our communities, trying to reflect our community. Some of the other things that we've been doing with the police department is in the technology realm. We're in our completed our first year in a new records management implementation, so we completely changed over our computer systems and the way we track incident reporting data, so that data is more available. We have some handouts here if you'd like to take some with you, where you can look at some of our crime mapping features. It also has telephone numbers and email addresses if you want to request specific information, or if you have just general questions about your community, don't hesitate to contact our criminal intelligence unit. They can field a lot of those questions kind of informally through email. Some of the other things that we're doing is we're continuing developing our real-time crime center and our crime camera program, which you may have heard over the last couple of years that we've continuously developed. And we do outreach in our crime camera programs by assisting both through private residences and businesses, coming out and looking at if you have surveillance cameras in your home, or you're looking to have some installed and you just need some advice, maybe on placement. We can come out and give you some ideas. We don't put you in touch with any vendors, but we just give you some ideas on things to think about when you start looking at companies to do camera installations. We also have community crime camera programs where we have certain appliances that you can upload your data straight to the police department if that's a program you want to participate in, or we have a camera registry program that you can access through the city's website, where you can simply register the existence of your camera. You don't have to upload any information. It's just kind of a closed registration system that if we have one of your neighbors happens to be the victim of a crime, you're registered with our system. We have that ability to conduct outreach and do try to develop leads in their case. So with that, I'll open it to any questions. Short and sweet. Yes, ma'am.
All right, now we'll open it up to questions.
Okay.
Let's open it up to questions.
Start here, I'll go back to Mr. Creel.
Since you got it,
I'll start with police, and I'll go back to Mr. Creel, because I had Mr. Creel's question ready.
Well, I was going to start on one end and go in an orderly fashion and let everybody ask the questions that they want. Okay.
Okay, anyone on this side have a question?
For anyone here? Yeah, ladies first, absolutely.
This for you.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, Mr. Kerr said that they're not going to allow you to know about what type of like routes is or whatever for a couple of years. Do you have a location in mind of where about in our area?
Or you speaking of the grocery store?
Yes, grocery store.
Yes.
Can you tell us about where?
I can tell you what I've done in the past. Okay, what we've identified a couple of years ago, Kay Miller and myself, we identified a spot which was on the corner of Division and Calvert Street.
Yeah,
and we identified that spot as one potential spot. And most of them want to have at least 2 to 3 acres in order to put a place, and that is one viable spot. Not saying that it'll be there, but that's one of the spots that we were looking at. And like I said, back in 2017, Kay Miller, myself, Mississippi Power, we all was working together at that time, trying to move it forward before it kind of went off the tracks. But that's one potential spot that we're looking at. Okay?
Question I have is, this question is, I guess it'll go to you, Felix. Nixon Street, I know it's closed when you're traveling to the south side of it, at the railroad crossing. Now, since that's been closed, I have witnessed a number of accidents at the corner of Main and Estes, because when you're trying to turn and somebody's coming over the track, I've seen several collisions there. Now, if you're traveling south on Nixon, people have easy access across the track to go to the beach, go to 90. That needs to be reconsidered, that crossing there. Closing that crossing, I don't think that, and it certainly hasn't helped run give it up lives there. We've been there since 1925. That needs to be reconsidered. The other thing I want to talk about is, I heard mentioned by the captain, I believe, spring break coming up. There is a big difference in this community when any other thing come around town when it comes to how you direct traffic, how you're directing traffic, how people are made to be put in, I guess, stressful situations and trying to get here to get there. I don't see none of this when all these other activities come to town. We need to take a look at that and try to come up with some solutions that's going to make things better and make people want to come to town for that spring breaks. There's a big difference. I don't have to tell you. You can just go out, and when you see what's going on, how the traffic is directed here and there. It's a big difference in night and day. I won't say no more. I like to sit down with the chief prior to Black Spring Break, and maybe we come with some ideas how to make this better for everybody. Thank you.
I'll let him address it and then I'll.
So we have a standard traffic plan that we use for all of our large, you can refer to it as maybe your big three. You have Scraping the Coast, Spring Break, Cruising the Coast. And with all of those events, they tend to exceed our capacity in terms of traffic and manpower, traffic capacity of the roadways. And so what we've done is we've implemented a phased traffic management plan over the years that luckily in the last few years we haven't had to go to the most extreme phases, which you're probably referring to, where we go to the diversion, we lock down the roadways and all of those things. We haven't had to do that for a number of years now. But what we do for all of them is essentially the first level of response, if you will, is having officers just static in the areas along the intersections. And with our real-time crime center and our traffic management plan, we're able to pinpoint specific locations within those event areas that we can target intervention strategies. For example, where it used to be all of West Biloxi, we'd have to lock down Highway 90 Pass Road and go into a diversion status where we're having to put vehicles on just a big loop just to keep vehicles moving. So what we do now is we take advantage of the technology that we have available to us, and we can identify those key locations in those problem areas, and then we saturate those specific intersections. We put them in either a short diversion on the service drive, or we activate officers in specific locations at maybe 2 different intersections that will alleviate pressure at all the rest of them. The number one key when we're doing these traffic management plans is we want to keep traffic moving. Whenever we're monitoring and we notice that vehicles are stopped or moving very slowly in the roadway, that causes a major issue into your feeder roads, your north and south streets, Pass Road, and it's a cascading effect that will end up locking up the entire west of the city. It takes very few vehicles to actually lock the west up because we only have 2 major east-west corridors, Highway 90 and Pass Road being the 2 primaries, and then of course all of your cross streets. But to your point, that's one thing that we're very sensitive of is we want to make sure that we have a consistent plan and we apply it to all of those major events. And we do our best to handle as events come up, or if there's a critical incident that happens amongst those events, then of course we're able to facilitate those emergency responses by applying those traffic strategies.
Well, one of my main concerns was I saw one particular year where they were just tow companies set up down there in front of where the Treasure Bay is. I mean, this was just fair game. I mean, just set up down there like they come to town just to take folks' money. And that doesn't look good. I mean, this was terrible. And things like that. I don't see that with all these other events you're talking about. I don't see the ticketing, the towing. I don't see that. I don't see as much of that. And that's all I'm saying.
Mr. Harney, let me mention one thing. Spring Break is different in the sense that the organizers for that event do not come in and meet with the city to let us know what's planned. Cruising the Coast and some other events, we start having meetings weeks in advance so that we can work out where the hot spots are going to be and where the traffic needs to be. But typically what happens is the police department has to monitor the internet to find out that there's going to be an event over here, there's going to be an event over there. Because if you have any influence with the organizers and can get that set up to come in and actually meet with the city like the other events do, that would really help.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
And just for that Main Street crossing, that has to be fixed.
Oh, Nixon. You're on the Main Street?
Well, you asked about the Main Street crossing, that accidents was there, but opening up the possibility of opening back up. And that is a viable solution to opening back up. But also the Main Street crossing needs to be fixed. And we've already passed that. We've already passed that to have that fixed. Because like you said, the accidents is because of the grade. And when you're coming across, you dip down real low where you can't see it. And that's the reason why the accidents are happening.
I really bought to your point, if you don't mind. This is real short. how is it that over the years we have allowed the railroad company? I remember when all those tracks right in the area there was smooth, where you had no problem, but all of a sudden the tracks are higher than the road.
We've been battling with CTX with that for a long time. Every time they come in and shave it, it raises like almost 3 to 4 inches. So every year it's been raising, where the tracks used to be down low, now they're way up there. And that's because of those extra rocks that have been put in there. So that's an issue, and actually we've been going back and forth with that from a city standpoint, and they've agreed to pay for fixing that crossing for us. Okay?
Good evening. My name is Karen Fleeton. I live at 339 Main Street. I want to make a complaint about speeding. There are people that just speed up and down Main Street like it's a freeway. And it's been complained at the city council meeting. We were wondering if we could have speed bumps, like from Main Street Church, New Bethel, like that, because every time there's an entertainment or anything like that in Biloxi, I just sit on my porch and watch them. Cars just speed down Main Street coming from the railroad track going down to Back Bay. As a matter of fact, my brother truck was sitting in front of my sister's house, and somebody came from across the railroad track and just destroyed his truck. They had to be drunk because they didn't hit it from the front. They came from like where the blue dot is and hit his door, and it kept on going. So I've seen just people just speeding and cars that aren't even from Mississippi, just speeding up and down Main Street all the time, day and night. I can sit out there at 2 o'clock in the morning and cars are still just speeding up and down Main Street. So I'm just asking if we could get speed bumps. We've asked for it before and nobody's done anything. So, I mean, you know, just put a little cement or whatever to take to put.
Well, the first thing that we tried to do, if you remember, we tried to put a stop sign there to slow them down to do that. But a study would have to be done before doing that. But Mr. Krill said they may not be allowed.
Yeah, speed bumps are not allowed on public roads. They can have them on private roads, but the reason they're not allowed on public roads is because of a number of things. Number one, if you have a speed bump and someone hits it, it greatly increases their chance of having an accident. Also, you hit a speed bump, it knocks their car out of line, so their claims filed against the city. It just creates a danger. Now, there are things called speed tables. And speed tables is where you've probably seen they have a very gradual transition up to a smooth speed, and then they transition down. I'm on the traffic committee, we discuss this all the time. We have had some neighborhoods that requested speed tables, but in order to get one, the majority of the neighbors in that area would have to request it. They would have to write a letter to the traffic committee to request it. Some were put in a neighborhood, and some of the neighbors just went berserk. They said, we don't want this here. How did this happen without all of us? So we had to go to requiring a petition with a majority of the neighbors that are impacted by that before we'll consider a speed table.
I have 2 questions, I believe. One for the police department, one for the city, and a matter of fact for the Councilman Gaines. Okay, my mother lives in on Quayton Street in Biloxi. We have been having a lot of problems with the homeless. Like a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, 3:20 in the morning, a lady walks up on my mother's porch. My mother's 86 years old, and this is a continuous cycle as I see, because I know we got 3 of these homeless people where they feed them and everything there. I don't have anything against them feeding them, but the concern and problem I have is that every time, you know, you've been cleaning up the city, you get a whole bunch more, okay? And then also coming out to the Division Street Bridge, going on to Division Street when you come off by Hopkins Boulevard. This is going to be a problem too. I see it's going to be like New Orleans after a while. Right now, it's currently nobody under there. They are starting to homestead up under that bridge. And I think going from Division Street down toward Keesler, that's a total disgrace for it to be a tourist attraction. That is embarrassing to the city of Biloxi. I mean, totally embarrassing. You know, I just don't know, what is the solution? How do we fix this problem? Because as you see now, they talking about putting one down by Judge Siku. And now those people finna start raising sand. But as long as we've been dealing with it on the east side, it wasn't a problem as much. And then also, the second part to this is all through the night. And I have to call the police sometime from my house because I can watch it on my Ring camera for them to do a special patrol on my mother's house. Okay? They coming down there 2, 3 o'clock in the morning speeding, driving crazy. It's a dead-end street. It's a dead-end street, so they going down there and there'd be 3 or 4 cars turn around, backing up. Her fencing got hit and tore down. And I just don't know what to do about this situation because you have a lot of elderly people on the east side. A lot of elderly people who have been there 50, 60 years in their homes. And so I think we need to take some kind of action to rectify some of these problems.
That was 320? Was it around here?
3:20 in the morning. I went to court a couple of weeks ago, and of course the guy didn't show up, but it's just a situation that's a continuing cycle.
Yeah, the homeless population is something that we field consistent complaints on for the last few years. So much so that we took the approach of having special patrols and putting special CIT teams together and partnering with some of the nonprofits, Open Doors, and some of those other nonprofit organizations that service that community. And trying to come up with a multidisciplinary approach to try to address just the little part that we can play. And that's kind of the problem with the police department is, you know, we don't have resources to deal with those type of social issues. You know, our only remediation is, you know, we can either arrest somebody if that's what the victim wants, or we can handle it, you know, by taking a report. That's really our only options. And so that's why we try to partner with some of these nonprofits to do a Hope First approach. So the concept of that would be when we initiate contact with these in-need communities, we try to put them in touch with resources to try to, you know, better themselves or help themselves, or whether it be, you know, with the mission or with Open Doors or with even some of the job placement organizations that have been partnering with some of those groups. And you know, it's an ongoing process. It's something that we continue to deal with, and it's one of those issues that it's really a community issue that, you know, many different people have to come together and really work to try to you know, come up with some sort of positive outcome.
But you know, when I did this, when I went, not to take them too much time, but when they arrested this guy, they had 3 police cars to come. This guy had 11 OR bonds in his pocket. They would not, the county would not take them. So, I mean, and they know the system, but I'm saying the county won't take them. They have to make a phone call first to see if Gulfport's going to take them. If Gulfport says no, Biloxi only can keep them 4 to 6 hours and then discharge them because they have no beds and they don't feed them. So it's like, what's going to happen? Because I done did my research on it.
We can talk more after the meeting.
Please, please.
This question's for you, dear. I just wanted to piggyback on the comment on the speeding on Main Street. I've lived there for 30 plus years, and it's always been a speeding problem. Now, the stop sign did slow them down, but it seems now they try to see how fast they can go between the stop signs. So, how effective are the speed indicators? You know, the lights, when they tell you how fast you're going. How effective are those?
We could try that. We could talk with police about putting them there and just see what kind of a response we get to them. You know, they are the ones that show you how fast you're going in the neighborhood. And sometimes a conscientious person, that will get their attention, but you're still going to have those people that really don't care. They're still going to go.
What if you have a patrolman there to enforce it, or maybe it's your warning when they do go to speed limit?
Write a couple tickets, that's all.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Herschel Pargo. I am the president of the Biloxi branch in NAACP. What you're talking about, People come up with that, they try to see how fast their car can get from there to that sign. So, I'm gonna tell you right now, that's not gonna work. And one other thing I see, I don't know whether y'all have paid attention, from Keesler, gate, all the way to Hopkins. It look like New York.
Hello.
But when you pass Hopkins and go back down to Boomtown, it look like somebody went through there with a bomb. I think y'all should make the bigger street look as good as Keesler Gate down here. And I want to say thank you.
That's the objective. That's the objective.
Councilmember, you got the homeless plan out there in the grass now? Shopping for some basket out there.
You do got to remember now, we have a part to play in it also, as homeowners.
I probably don't need a mic, I talk
Go
too loud.
ahead.
I just want to piggyback on the Main Street thing, and special events like Mardi Gras, any special event where they have parades. This is something that I noticed that, where we live it's a neighborhood. It's not treated as a neighborhood when the traffic is directed to my street. Peyton Drive is like and I mean, sometimes my grandkids are there. We talk about fencing in the park. My grandkids are in my yard, my private yard, where people who don't even live in my area are busting my street. And it's been a problem. I won't complain about it because I just keep them inside and make sure I'm sitting out there when they got these special events going on. But I think last year I sat there and I noticed the city parking was available to park, but they weren't allowed to park there. They could park on the grass, but they couldn't go into the parking area. And I thought that was kind of strange. I said, because the city had their vehicles parked there, and people coming in from Mardi Gras could not go into that development building right there. They had somebody sitting out there, not letting them in. They could park on the grass in front of my house, but they couldn't park in that parking lot. I thought that very strange. And also, when you're talking about going through neighborhoods and just speeding down Main Street, when they come through our neighborhood during those events, they're speeding. Also, during those events, after they're cleaned up, I've watched this. The cleaning will come to Main Street and stop. They're beached there right now from probably Mardi Gras, from Main Street on. We need street sweeping also. If they're going to clean it up, let's follow where don't clean any of it up.
Y'all down the river trails.
Gotcha. You want to speak on that, Mr. Creel, or the parking over there in New York?
Well, I know that when the invitations are sent out for people to attend, one of the places that they reserve for parking is the parking lot over at Community Development, as far as people having to have a pass in order to get in there to park. I don't know what the criteria is behind it, but I just know that I've been here 20 years, and for years, that was one of the places that was reserved for parking for people with passes.
Hey, Mr. Creel, I got a question real quick before you hang up.
I have to agree with you on the street sweeping area, because I had to ask from the council to go back over it again, because when they did it, they did a sloppy job the first time. And so they had to go back over it once again in order to get some of that cleaned up. So I'll go back and look, but you're absolutely right. They did clean up some of it, but they didn't do a good job. And that was a lot. Yeah. Anyone else on this side? Let's give everybody else a chance. Ms. Lacey.
No. Okay, that's all I got.
I have a question. You said that Keesler Main Gate would contribute to East Division. I want to know in which way would it contribute. And it's like the traffic that's coming is going to I-110. It's not going past Calvert. And I just want to know what's the objective in it. Yes. And then another thing with the street lights. If the traffic do go past Calvert, then it's going to back up because we got flashing lights. We don't have red lights like at the intersection. You know, it's just a flashing light.
So I just want to know what they're going to do about that.
Okay, I'll do the last one first. You got flashing lights because we don't have the traffic like we used to. We used to have stoplights all the way through, but we don't have the traffic flow anymore. The idea of the Keepsway game is to get our visitors to come out and go all the way. Right now, they're going back that way. We have to be more inviting. And yes, we are working with Mississippi Power in improving our lighting situation. Because the bottom line is, if you improve the lighting, you're more inviting. And that's what it's all about. So we're looking at ways to do that and to light that place up, especially down all the way down Division Street.
Okay. All right, you said go all the way through, but go all the way through to where?
My concept is to go all the way to the end of the division. I don't want it just to stop right there at the bridge. It should go all the way to the end of the division because the whole idea is to develop the whole east side of Biloxi. That's my vision. Streets are done. Now we have to look at going to all the way, make it right. Because how can we get people down to Main Street